Okay, so as you're looking at your screen and the functions on your screen are going to be a little bit different from mine to find Photoshop because mine has been updated. Yours is to be updated soon. But you're going to go into your lower left-hand corner to your Start menu. In your Start menu, you will find, again, yours looks different than mine. Okay? What you're going to do is at the bottom, there's a little space that you can type in. You're going to go ahead and start typing the word photo, P-H-O-T-O. You want to go ahead and start that up right now. And then hopefully you'll see Photoshop 5.1 pop up. I'm going to go in my All Apps. Again, you don't have this yet. But you're looking into this program called Adobe, A-D-O-B-E, Design Premium CS 5.5. Again, very soon we're actually upgrading to cloud version, which I'm really excited about, but we're going to be working on 5.5 for now. And this is Adobe Photoshop CS 5.1, okay? So when you find it, you're going to go ahead and open that up, and then you're going to go ahead and begin this video clip again. Alright, so when Photoshop pops up, we'll actually have matching screens. Now, a few of your functions here may be a little bit different, but I will show you how to fix that if yours does not match up with mine, or if ever you lose something, some kind of a menu or a palette or something, you want to go ahead and restore those. So you're going to restore that by going up to Window, Workspace, and then you're going to tell it to reset Essentials. So if yours does not match mine, you can go ahead and do that. That's going to reset all of your functions in order to make sure yours matches mine. So again, resetting those essentials will give you something that will match mine roughly. Again, these menus here might be slightly different. Slightly, like this one might be more visible than the adjustments, etc. But that's generally what you're looking for, okay? So by now, if you go to the minimize, by now, you should have the project that we completed last week up on your screen, saved to your desktop. If you double click it, you're going to find it will not open up in Photoshop. So you want to make sure that you open it up with Photoshop by doing one of two things. Okay, thing number one is going to be right click, open with, and Adobe Photoshop CS 5.1. So that's the first way, and that will open it up right in Photoshop. Sometimes people don't have that as an option. So I'm going to show you the other way of opening it up. After you open up Photoshop, you're going to go File, Open, just like you would open any other file, like from Word. And then you're going to change your view to your desktop. You can scroll down here, and you can find it in there. Oftentimes you'll find it on this left bar. And then you're going to go ahead and find your image. This one happens to be Epson 001. And then click Open. Please give it a minute to open. It is really important that you do give it a minute to open so that you have a nice clean file. Don't overload the computer. If you notice the computer is a little bit sluggish, you may need to restart the computer entirely. Okay, so keep that in mind. If your computer tends to be a little slow, restart it. So in this case, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and crop this image, because when it was scanned, the scan actually included more information than what you needed last week. So in cropping, you're going to go ahead and choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tools down. You're going to see this tool right here called the crop tool. Sometimes you'll have another tool in its place. Any of these menus that have that little tiny black triangle in the corner, that means if you click and hold, it'll give you options. Okay? But if this is the one you need, all you do is just click on it. You don't have to do this. A lot of people do that for some reason. If it's out here and you need to use it, you click on it and you use it. You don't need to go to the sub menu. Okay? So what you're going to do right now is you're going to go ahead and you're going to crop this image. You're going to make sure that you're including all of the image and none of the stuff that you don't want. So you're going to crop that image, getting rid of all of that. Now, a couple of things that you need to do when you're doing this. You're going to draw a square around your particular, you're going to draw a square around your particular piece. But let's say you're like, oh man, I just messed it up. Easy thing you can do on the top left corner of your keyboard, the ESC button, the escape button. You can press the escape button. Now, a lot of people will do this. Oh, I messed it up. Let me press the enter key. And then all of a sudden they lose their picture. And I'm going to show you how to fix it if you did not get an image that was cropped properly. What you're going to do is you're going to go over here. This little thing is called your history bar. And in your history, if you can't see it, you're going to go to Windows and History. So if that little guy is not available, again, it's 3 squares with an arrow. You're going to click it, and you're going to see this is the last thing you did. The last thing you did is on the bottom. I'm going to go back up 1 step. I'm going to put this guy back in, and then I'm okay to go. I can go ahead and start it over again. I had someone that cropped out like this. I had someone that, okay, I want to get rid of that stuff. I'm going to get rid of that, and then suddenly they realize they lost it. Super quick thing you can do as well. If you undo it by pressing Control Z, we can get you moving with that. So go ahead and crop your image. As soon as it's cropped, you press the Enter key, and if you do not like it, you can go back in History, or you press Control Z. If that doesn't work, go back in History. You're going to pause the video now to do that. Alright, so really quick again, just a reminder, you should have cropped your image. Once you're happy with the crop, you're going to go ahead and press the Enter key on your keyboard, and you're going to see that it's nicely cropped. Now, I will show you, if you need to get closer anywhere, on your keyboard, Control plus, you can get closer, Control minus, you can zoom out. So you want to use that, the CTRL button on the lower left-hand side. You're going to press that, hold that down, and then just tap the plus key or tap the minus key, and that's what's going to allow you to zoom in. Now, I have a little bit of a flub right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recrop this, and I'm going to move this in so I can get rid of that little tiny edge over there. That little edge is actually not that important to me. It's a lot easier for me to get rid of it that way than it would be for me to try to fix it later. Okay? So at this stage in time, I would like for you to press a command on your keyboard. And that command is going to give you another copy of your image. So in case you make a mistake and you can't undo it, we always have a backup. And this copying is called Control J. So that CTRL button, lower left-hand corner, you're going to hold it down. You're going to tap the J button. Excuse me. Once you do that, you're going to see you made a copy. Just like we went to the Xerox machine and copied your work, you have made a copy of that layer, and now you're going to work on the copy. Okay? So, if you do Control plus, you can zoom in. You can see how we have some areas that we are going to want to clean up. Some areas in here that we might want to darken later. But again, you can come in with your eyedropper, and we're going to get the perfect white color or black color by using this eyedropper. So when we grab our eyedropper, we're going to click on the background white. What that did was it loaded that perfect white right here as my paint color. Okay? So with that, I'm going to go to my brush. And in my brush, I go to this little drop down. So let me do that one more time. Over here on the left toolbar, we've got a brush. And then you can go to this little arrow to drop it down to make sure you've got a brush with a hard edge. You do not want a soft edged brush. We're going to use a hard edged brush, okay? Before we do that, though, we're going to try to make our work a little bit easier by changing up a little bit of our adjustments. If you go to Image, Adjustments, and Threshold, what that will do is it will pop the black and the white on this particular image, hopefully getting rid of some of these grays for you. So once again, you're going to come up to the top menu, Image, Adjustments, and Threshold. When you click on that, you get this little sort of mountain looking range, okay? That mountain looking range, if you take this triangle and you move it this way, you're going to increase the amount of black. If you move it this way, you're going to decrease the amount of black. Obviously, we want a happy balance. We don't want these areas to be empty. We want them to be full. But we also don't want it to become where it gets very blobby and kind of funky looking. So we don't want that. We want a happy medium. So I'm looking at my image. I'm watching some of these background areas to make sure that it still remains clean. If you get too much funky lining there, then you're going to want to fix it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, still make sure it's nice and clean looking. And I can move this around. I can kind of look at it. Let's do it this way. We'll move this way. We can move this one. Look at it. Just make sure you're happy with it, and then you say, okay. Now, any kind of flubs, anything you want to get rid of, you're going to go to this paintbrush. We already loaded white, and we loaded white once again by clicking on our eyedropper. Again, if it's not there, it could be one of those. But our eyedropper, you click on the white to make sure it's perfect, and then you go back to your paintbrush. So I can zoom in on an area, and I can try to fix this area up over here. So I'm going to zoom in, Control+. I'm going to move it over. I'm going to make sure I give a smaller brush. Smaller brush. Right above your Enter key, there are bracket keys. They look like parentheses, but they're kind of squared off. The left one makes my brush smaller. The right one makes my brush larger. You can also change the size by coming up here to size and moving it around. Okay? Putting that back in. And then you're going to come in and you're going to clean up some of those flubs. You're going to want to get in there. Again, try not to do too much in one click. If you do too much in one click and you did this whole area, you're going to want to make sure that you, oops, oh darn, and then I undo it by pressing Control Z, and I have so much that I'm undoing, I'm going to have a problem because it gets frustrating when you're so careful and it's so beautiful. Now I have to undo it because I didn't release a click. So I'm going to want to finish that up, release the click, and that will make it a new step in my history. So I can just undo a little bit rather than undoing a lot. Okay? So again, you're going to search around. You're going to clean things up. You're going to decide when things, like right here, I can't reach in there. I'm going to go with a really small brush, and I'm just going to get rid of that. I'm going to go with an even smaller brush to clean that up. So those areas that really annoyed you before, you can really get in there and clean them up. So again, just taking some, right there, I went too high. I can go back in my history, one above, put it back, and I've got it back. So again, you're going to go ahead and search through. You're going to clean up to fix it up, and then you can go ahead onto some of your black. You're going to eyedropper the black. You're going to go back to your brush, and there's that one section in her leg, there it is, where there was some black missing. I can fill it in. Just paint it right in. Okay? So if there's something that's really, like these really annoy me, I'm going to fix them. This is your time for fixing up. So, quick review. Zoom in and out with your Control key. Hold the Control, tap on the plus, or tap on the minus, depending on how much you want to zoom. You're going to use your eyedropper tool to sample the color so it matches perfectly. And then you're going to use your brush with a hard-edged brush. You can size it by moving this little arrow, or you can use your bracket keys on your keyboard. Again, your bracket keys are located above the Enter key on your keyboard. The right bracket makes it bigger. Oh, let's get rid of that. Put that back in. The right bracket makes it bigger. Left bracket makes it smaller. We've copied our layer to work on our copy, so we can see the before and the after by turning on this little this little eyeball. So before and after will come up. You can see it's getting a lot more crisp, and we're ready to go with it. At the end of the time period, you're going to want to save your image. You're going to go File and Save, because it'll save right back to your desktop. It's going to ask you a question, because now it's going to change how it's saved. At this stage, I want you to change your name. I'm going to call this Jen Glaze Line Figure. So you can go ahead and call it your name, Line Figure, and then hit the Save button. It's going to save it back to your desktop, so that when you come in on the next workday, you're going to see this right here. What's so awesome about that is that it will now open in Photoshop for you. All you need to do is click right on this, and it'll open up in Photoshop for you, and then you're going to continue work. This video is done. Have fun.